Hi learners, I welcome you to our 15th lesson in integrated science. Now, before you study this video, be sure to have watched the previous lesson about types of reflection of light. Types of reflection of lights. You should, by the end of the lesson, be able to explain the term image and to identify the characteristics of image formed in a plane mirror. By way of revision, in our previous lesson, we touched on the two kinds of reflection. We mentioned regular or uniform or specular reflection as a kind of reflection in which a beam of light, that is collection of light rays, incident on the polished surface are reflected in the same direction. We said plane mirror is one of the objects that produce regular or uniform reflection. The second type is irregular, non-uniform, or diffused reflection. And we explained that as a type of reflection in which a beam of light incident on a rough or unpolished surface is reflected in different directions. The surface of paper, leaf, clothing, having rough texture, tend to produce diffuse reflection. Now, today, we want to look at what an image is. So, what is an image? An image is formed when light rays from an object actually meet or appear to meet. I repeat, an image is formed when light rays from an object actually meet or appear to meet. We have types of image. We have the real image and virtual image. Real image, virtual image. Let's look at the difference between real image and virtual image in order to understand the term image itself. So let's look at the table carefully and observe. Under real image, we are saying that it is formed when light rays from an object actually meet. There's an actual meeting of the light rays. That's why it is real. Then under virtual image, it is formed when light rays from an object apparently meet. The word apparently is taken from the verb appear. So these rays do not actually meet, but they appear to meet. Number two, under real image, we say it is represented by continuous ray. Continuous ray, as you can see, continuous ray. And under virtual, it is represented by broken ray, or a broken line, or dash line. Then finally, we are saying that real image can be formed on a screen. Virtual image cannot be formed on a screen. What do we mean by it can be formed on a screen? That's real image. In other words, it means the image which is real can be captured and even printed, as we experience in the use of the camera. So cameras produce real image. I repeat, cameras produce real image because the image you produce can be printed on paper. Then, virtual image cannot be formed on a screen. So the image you see, the image of yourself you see in the mirror, that image cannot be printed on paper. It is virtual. It's not real. Alright? So have a look at the difference between real image and virtual image. Let's look at the meaning of image as a summary. So we are saying an image is formed when light rays from an object actually meet, that is real image, or appear to meet, that's virtual image. Alright, I hope you're clear. Now let's look at the characteristics of image formed by a plane mirror. How is an image formed in a plane mirror? The one used for dressing, the one the barbers use, the hairdressers use in their shops. Very good. So if you look at this diagram carefully, the vertical line here with a quoted back represents a plane mirror. Alright? In front of the plane mirror is placed an object, and this is the object here, and two rays, for the sake of simplicity, are drawn from the object, and these rays, as you remember, are called incident rays. So they hit the surface at these 2 points called the point of incidence, and then are reflected. They are reflected, okay, in this direction. Good. So, how is the image formed? Now, if you look at the way the incident rays from the object are reflected, widening up towards the human eye, realize that if these rays are projected backward this way, using virtual rays, remember they are not real, so we are calling them virtual rays, they will meet at this point, and where they meet, or where they appear to meet, a virtual image is formed. So this object image will be formed as if it's behind the mirror, and it's virtual, because an attempt to go behind the mirror to see whether you see the image, you not see it. That's why it is virtual, it's not real, but it is produced as a result of the apparent intersection of the light rays. Apparent, it means as they appear to be. Good. So this is how they are formed. Now, looking at the diagram, we can deduce some characters or some features or characteristics of this virtual image. And that's the focus of the subtopic. Characteristics of an image formed by plane mirror. This one. What are the characteristics? So let's take them one after the other. One, we're saying that the image distance is the same as the object distance. So let's check. Now, if you look at this image, its distance behind the mirror, that's from the mirror surface here to this side, is the same as the object distance in front of the mirror. So let's take note of that. The image distance is the same as the object distance. Two, the size of the image is the same as that of the objects. The size of the image is the same as that of the object. Yes, someone will argue that some of the mirrors do not show the images properly. Yes, that is an error in the coating of the silver. It means the silver is not perfectly flat or thin uniformly. That is why. Remember, there's nothing perfect. But we are looking at perfect mirror. Perfect mirror produce an image whose size is the same as that of the object. Let's look at the third characteristic. The image is upright or erect. Is upright or erect, meaning the orientation or the way the object is standing or positioned. That's the same way the image is positioned. That's why we're saying the image is upright as the object or is erect as the object. The opposite is in the pinhole camera, where the image is turned upside down. You remember? The image is turned upside down. But this is not like the mirror, the plane mirror. Okay, let's look at the fourth characteristic. I said the image is virtual. Good. We'll just look at what virtual image is. A virtual image is an image apparent intersection of what? Light. Apparent intersection of light coming from an object. So it's virtual. It cannot be formed on the screen. Then the last one, we're saying that the image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted. You can experience this anytime you look into the mirror. You realize that your right eye appears to be the left eye in the mirror. Or write your name on a board or a slate and position the mirror on one side to capture its image. You realize that the writing, the letters are reversed. Laterally, that's sideways. That's what we mean by the image is laterally inverted. This is in contrast or opposite to the image formed by a plane mirror, where the image is turned upside down. Where the image is turned upside down. Remember? Alright. So, my dear learners, these are the major characteristics of image formed by a plane mirror. In your exam or wherever you're questioning, these are the answers you write. Now, it could be that you might not be able to remember all at a go. So, I have devised what we call chunk and memory techniques of remembering words or phrases or sentences. So, the chunk is devilish. Devilish. And what does it mean? D for distance. So when you remember D, you're talking about the image distance as the object distance. If you look at E, E means erect or upright. The V means it is virtual. Now the LI, the I is small and it's laterally inverted. It means one characteristic can be obtained from LI. Then S is for size. So remember this word, devilish, as a way of remembering the characteristics of an image formed by a plane mirror. My dear learners, we are gradually edging towards the end of the lesson. So by way of summary, my dear learners, we touched on what an image is. Look at the difference between the two types of image, that's real image and virtual image. And then we proceeded to look at the characteristics of image formed by a plane mirror. We identified 5 of them. And we summarized the characteristics with the chunk, devilish, capital D, capital E, capital V, capital L-I, L small I, and capital S. Now, our exercise or assignment is no longer detached or separated from the lesson. So, having watched the video and observed the lesson carefully, we will now proceed to answer this question. It's ability for me to mark. So, number 1A, what is image or what is an image? B. Give 3 differences between real image and virtual image. And finally, identify 5 features or characteristics of image formed in a pinhole camera or by pinhole camera. Alright, we are bringing an end to this lesson and hoping to meet you next week when we'll look at yet another property of light. Till we meet again, stay safe. Bye-bye.